Hello everyone, Melody here, mama of 4 in our blended family of 6. Welcome to Homeschool Happy Hour. Today I'm going to talk you through how to build your own curriculum. If you are new here, my name is Melody. I have been homeschooling for 9 years. We are going into our 10th year of homeschooling, and we like to talk all things homeschool, homeschool curriculum, homeschool life on this channel. So make sure you take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow along for all things secular homeschooling. Today, I am specifically going to be talking about one way that you can build your own curriculum. Now, before we begin, let's talk about why would we do this? There's so much curriculum out there. Chances are, if you dig deep enough and you look long enough, you're going to find something that you love that's already pre-built and put together for you. There's nothing wrong with using these curriculum or resources. However, every once in a while, you either can't find what you're looking for specific to your family, because let's be real, every homeschool family is different, every kid is different. We want to do things differently. That's why we homeschool. And so when you can't find what you're looking for, that can be really frustrating. Or maybe you're in a situation where you don't have a huge budget for curricula, and you want to keep things simple. Maybe you unschool and you don't want to do things formally, or maybe you want to do things formally, but what they have just isn't fitting with what you're looking for your family and your children. There are a lot of different reasons why somebody might want to build their own curriculum. When I first started homeschooling and I talked to as many homeschoolers as I could, gathered as much information as I could, I was leaning heavily towards just getting a package curriculum, because this idea of knowing what is the best curriculum was really stressful for me. And I had numerous homeschoolers, experienced homeschoolers, that were telling me, no, don't get the package curriculum. If you want to, of course, go for it. Maybe it is a good fit for you, but more often than not, you spend a lot of money and use a fraction of what you've got, and it doesn't quite fit your family specifically. So I was saying, well, what if I can't find the curriculum that I'm looking for specifically? And they were like, oh, no big deal, just put together your own. The idea of doing that was so stressful and overwhelming to me. I was like, there's absolutely no way. There's no way that I could do that. I don't know how. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. What if I'm missing something? So I just didn't. A couple years ago, I was looking for a curriculum or a resource that had like a healthy relationships program. No matter how hard I looked, I could not find what I was looking for. I had this vision in my head of what I needed, and I just couldn't find it. So for the first time ever in my homeschooling experience, I chose to put together some resources and pieces from online to build my own little curriculum. Then last year, my oldest wanted to do physics. I couldn't find a physics program that I really loved. There are a lot of great physics programs out there, but she's a big reader, so I wanted one that was literature-based. And so her and I together built a physics curriculum based on literature and reading, which worked really well for her last year. This year, we are adding a religious literacy component to our homeschooling plan. And so I am over here, I've got my whole setup over here. I am putting together a religious literacy curriculum for us to use in our homeschool. And I just wanted to walk you through the steps that I've been taking in order to put that together. It is not complete. It is still a work in progress, but the idea of this video is just to give you some steps to follow to make that feel more doable and not quite so overwhelming. Let's start from the top. Step 1, choose what it is you want to learn. Like I said, it could be physics, it could be relationships, it could be about dinosaurs, it could be a handwriting piece, it could be religion, like what we're working on for this coming year. Anything, the sky's the limit, there are no boundaries. Choose your subject. Once you have chosen your subject, you might want to decide how you can narrow that down. Any given subject can be incredibly broad. You're gonna wanna decide, is this like an overview course? Is it an at-a-glance thing that we can dig into deeper later? Or is this an in-depth piece of that subject that we want to dig into? Religion is a great example for that. Do I just wanna give them an overview, or do I want to do a really deep study? A deep study is gonna take a lot of time, probably a number of years. Theology is a huge subject. We are going for more of a at-a-glance religious literacy approach. Step 2 for us is to rough draft our objectives. So whether you get a piece of paper and a pencil, or you've got like Google Docs on your phone or whatever, seriously, just sit down and write out, what are the objectives of this course? I did this. I put together the objectives and then I went to get it for you guys, and I could not find the notebook that I put it in, and then I realized I had done it on Google Docs. So I went and printed out our objectives. Now this is a rough draft objectives. Basically we have 6, I know you probably can't see it very well, but we just have 6 main objectives and then some bullet points under each to help specify what we're talking about. My next step, step 3, is to go look at the resources that I have on hand. Let's see, what did I find here? Now, I personally have always found religion to be quite fascinating. We are secular homeschoolers, we are not a religious family, but religion plays a huge role in the world that we live in, and I feel like it's important to be educated about the world that we live in, and that includes religion. So I have a number of resources sitting over here that were just on my shelf. We've got Raising Free Thinkers. This is a great one. I loved when the kids were little. Religious Literacy. This is a really good one for adults. This was a good review for me. And then I had these 2 on my shelf for the kids. I've got What Do You Believe for younger kids and World Religions, Great Faiths Explored and Explained. So once I had these in my hand, right off my shelf, the next thing that I was going to do was just take a minute to review them. Now, I've looked through these books before. I've read some of them cover to cover. Others have been more like reference books, but I just wanted to give myself an idea of what was available. This is not the time that I take to go and read everything cover to cover. I simply don't have time in my day to read all the things that I want to read, so I have to be a little bit more selective about it. Once I have looked at those books, I'm going to go back to my objectives rough draft and add, subtract things as I see fit based on what I saw in those books at a glance, what I remembered. It probably is going to help stimulate some thought on what I want to cover. Then I'm going to do step 4, which is go to the library. There's really no reason why developing a curriculum has to be an expensive endeavor. It does not. It can be super inexpensive and sometimes even free. So I went to the library, which if you have a well-stocked library, then you probably don't need anything more than what you can find there. We have a very small library, so I went and I've got this fun stack of books, some of which I will read through, some of which I won't. I just went and, to save time, grabbed the stack of things that looked the most interesting to me and brought them home so that I could weed through them. Once I go through these books, I will see, I'll hold it up a little higher for you. Okay, so I have like this one, Judaism, Eyewitness books. This is a great one for kids, and they only had this one in my library, but it gave me the idea of having these books, so if I want to, I can get on Amazon and I can purchase more of the books. The other books that I have here are more for me, for my reference, so that when we're talking about things that, as we go through the curriculum, I feel like I'm prepared for that. Again, I will not read all of these cover to cover. That's a lot of time investment that I don't have to give. Once I have all these books, I go back again to my rough draft outline and I add subtract accordingly based on the things that I glanced at in the books. This is a working rough draft. It just keeps changing as we go. Again, I printed this off for reference for this video, but it's still in progress. I told myself that I would not purchase any more books this time because I had the library and I had some books on my shelf. But of course I really, really like books. And then I'm scrolling through Instagram and I saw somebody was using this other book, so of course I had to have it. So I got on Amazon and I purchased this book, the Religions book. I really do like the DK books, Big Ideas. Well, this one is a great resource for the kiddos and for me. We used a similar book for physics as one of our physics books, and it was fantastic. So I'll be adding this to my stack. Then I'm gonna go back to my list and edit it again. The next thing I wanna do, which I haven't done yet, is get online, get on Pinterest, get on YouTube, find resources. YouTube has a crazy amount of resources for everything that you can think of. I love it, and they're free. So I can get on Crash Course or any other channels that I want to and find what I'm looking for as far as religion to help us move along. Because I do have one kiddo that's a big reader. She'd be happy just to read these books. I have another kiddo that's more visual, hands-on. She likes to do things. When I'm putting together the curriculum, I want a combination of those things. Then I'm gonna brainstorm and think about what can we do? What can we physically get involved in to help us understand this? Now for us, that means we will probably be doing once a month, attending some sort of religious service as they are available and we are able, so that the kids can get a real life example of what would it be like to go to this church or that church and experience that for themselves. Once I have checked my books and checked the library's books and gotten whatever I want off of Amazon and checked out Pinterest and YouTube and other internet resources, that is the point in which I'm going to take my rough draft objectives. These are basically just the things that we want to learn, and then I'm going to start putting them into a more organized template, if you will. If you have a high schooler and you're wanting to get credits, it's a really good idea as you go along to build that transcript for the class. So you want a course description. What is our objective for this course? What is it we're trying to learn? How much time are we spending on it? How many days a week are we working on it? How many hours each time we work on it? Is it a 30-minute thing, a 15-minute thing, 5 days a week? Are we working on it for an hour, 1 day a week? You don't have to do that. You can be as structured or as freestyle as you want to be. However, when you're writing your transcripts later, the more information you have, the better, because you will probably forget some of the things you did or forget what it was, and it's so much easier if you just have that information at hand for transcript writing. Throughout this process, I really do feel like it's a good idea to talk to the kids. Like if I have a stack of books for them or even a stack of books in my Amazon cart, I might talk to them and say, hey, which of these books look the most interesting to you? Which ones are you the most interested in? I will probably look for movies, even if it's a historical fiction, to help kind of bring that to life and help them understand the history of religions. Now for us, again, we are secular homeschoolers, and I said, it's important to know the way that our world works. Religion has been a big part of our world. But additionally, I have found that as an agnostic family, we don't have ongoing religious practices in our home. I have found that if we do not educate our children about what religion is, not only historically and having them understand the stories of religion so that they understand references. I mean, even things like watching The Simpsons, there's religious references like crazy in those type of shows. So, there's humor out there that you might not understand if you don't understand the religious references. But something that I have noticed or come across is that if we do not teach our children about what indoctrination is, and of course, this goes beyond religion, but if you don't teach them about what indoctrination is, about what it means to seek truth, and about being able to look at the world objectively as critical thinkers, then the church, one church or another, is likely going to try and do it for you. There are many, many well-meaning people out there who believe in their soul and deep down through and through that it is their job to bring as many people as they can to their belief system. While I disagree with this approach, I take issue with that a little bit, depending on how aggressive people are in their approach for that. It's a fact. It's going to happen. Most likely, there's going to be somebody that is trying to convert our children. And we are leaving them basically ripe and ready for conversion if we are not educating them on being able to identify that. Whether it's something as extreme as a cult and being able to identify what is a cult, what does it look like, what are the red flags that we should be looking for, or if it's something as simple as just your run-of-the-mill church in the corner of town. It doesn't matter. If my children want to become a part of a religion when they're older, they're absolutely welcome to do that. If that helps them feel more fulfilled and happy with their life, absolutely. I just want to know that they're doing it with eyes wide open and that they have not been manipulated or pulled into something that they don't understand and aren't able to analytically think through. That is kind of my soapbox on religion specifically, but for any curriculum. Again, any subject, it's really quite simple. Check out your resources, check out the library resources, look at online resources. If you want to purchase some stuff online, you can, but you don't have to. I can almost guarantee you can find everything you need as long as you have an internet connection and a library card for free. Document what you're doing, write it down so that if you want to use it later in transcripts, you can use it later. If you have a young elementary school student and you're just doing a real light introduction, which I recommend that you do on most subjects, you probably don't need to worry about the transcripts part. That's more for high school level things or junior high even possibly if we're looking at transcripts for college. But the key things to remember are, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can absolutely keep it simple and get it done thoroughly. And it doesn't have to look like anything else or what anyone else is doing. You can create something that is completely unique to you and your family, and it doesn't have to be a stressful process. You are more than capable of putting together and collecting the resources and materials that you need for your kiddos to learn a particular item or subject or whatever. You don't need to have worksheets or tests or quizzes. Can you have those things if you want them? Yes, you can. Can your children learn without them? Yes, they can. If you want to put together a grading system for your curriculum, you can do that. Nobody's going to stop you. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't want to have a grading system for your curriculum, you don't have to. There's nothing that's requiring you to do that. If you are doing transcripts for college, you're going to want some kind of way of tracking what they have done or how they've done it. And certain classes might want you to give them a grade, and you can do that, but you can decide how that's determined. It doesn't have to be a true-false quiz or an essay, or it could be both. The sky's the limit. Do it however you want. Make it work for you and your family. Don't stress about it. Keep it simple. If you have any more questions about how to build a curriculum for something, please drop a comment in the box below. If you have suggestions on what people might want to consider, drop a comment in the box below. We're all learning from each other here. Remember, there's always more than one way to do things. What I shared with you today is what works for us. Maybe it'll work for you. Let me know if it does. And that's all I've got for you today. So I will catch you next time.